Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be checking out an amazing product from FIFINE, the Elgato D6 Stream Controller. This is what it looks like right here. We're going to go over all the ins and outs of it. But before we do that, let's jump over here to today's sponsor, and then we'll get back to the main video. Huge thanks to Smart Devil for sponsoring today's video. Everything is included inside of your kit whenever you order it from Smart Devil. I have a Pixel 8, so once you get the pack open, clean your phone. Step 1, place the cover on it, pull the adhesive off, and apply gentle pressure for 10 seconds. That allows the cover to seal. Once it seals completely after that 10-second mark, you remove the top cover, remove the top layer of adhesive, and your screen protector will be directly applied to your phone just like that. It seals up very nicely. I use a little bit of a squeegee to ensure that it was smoothly covering my phone. I am super clumsy, so I need something to protect my screen on my phone because I drop stuff a lot. And in the event that you do break the protector, you can replace it easily with one of the included additional screen protectors that comes inside of the kit. And there we go. That is my phone now with a brand new screen protector on my phone. Now let's jump back to the video. For all intents and purposes, the D6 is a Stream Deck. It is the FIFINE's version of the Stream Deck. I'll be honest with you, I was pleasantly surprised when I opened it up. It is lightweight, compact. Lighting is done really well. We'll show you exactly what it looks like on stream in just a few moments. But it is relatively easy to set up. Comes with a set of nice instructions. Give you a link to the download the software for the D6. But for the intents of this video, we're going to call it a Stream Deck because that's essentially what it is. So as you can see right here, we have our Elgato D6 Stream Controller. It has 15 buttons that are available to you to be able to press for and set up for whatever your desire is. But if you notice right here, it allows me to control my scenes, everything inside of OBS. Let's go back real quick. But this is what it looks like. I will say this about the buttons. They do have a little bit of resistance whenever you press them. And sometimes if you don't press it directly in the center, it kind of like offsets and clicks a little bit, makes a noise. But I do notice that with the Elgato Stream Deck as well. We're not going to go into all that right now, but we're going to look at the software once you get it downloaded for your D6. And let's take a look at the software itself. So this is what the software looks like for the FIFINE D6. If you notice, or if you're familiar with the Elgato Stream Deck at all, it does look very similar. All the buttons control our setups right here on your screen if you look around. So as I stated, once you get the software installed, you should be relatively familiar with it if you've ever done anything with the Elgato Stream Deck. So if you notice, we have all of our different options on the side. We got our FIFINE control deck that comes pre-installed with the software. It allows you to create folders, pages, and additional buttons that you want to use for your D6. We've got a toolbox as well that comes that allows you to load up, hotkey switches, mouse controls, websites, assign a hotkey to be able to press it on the D6 whenever you want to open up an app or anything of those nature. We have an option to actually open up an app. You can open up different options, close. You can do text, passwords, multimedia. So the D6 software is relatively easy to use, easy to set up. So once you get the software installed for the D6, you can go ahead and set up each of the buttons however you desire. In my case, I'm going to be using it for streaming. The OBS Studio plugin comes pre-installed whenever you download and install the FIFINE Control Deck software. So let's go down here real quick. Go to OBS Studio. We're going to choose a scene right here. And you're going to have to set up the connection the first time you do this. So view connection information. It asks you for your IP, the server port, which is going to be typically the default server port. So you need to enable WebSocket on your OBS. That way it will be able to connect and allow the OBS Studio plugin to connect to your OBS. So once you get it connected to your OBS in the WebSocket, you're going to be able to choose the scene you want. For in this case, let's just say we're going to do starting soon. So now we've got a button there that whenever I press it, it's going to automatically go to the starting soon screen. You can actually change the icons as well by simply going down here, tap the little gear right here, find your image, and it'll automatically add an image. So anytime you press that button, it will automatically go to the starting soon screen. So let me go that real quick for you guys. So there it is. Automatically goes back to the starting soon screen. I press another button and we're back on full cam. And as you can see, there's my Stream Deck. There is the buttons right there for the D6 setup. I've got all of this set up just like I would use it on my Elgato Stream Deck. Works flawlessly, no issues whatsoever. I did notice one thing. If I restarted my computer, sometimes it wouldn't automatically connect. So I'll have to reload the FIFINE D6 software
to be able to connect to my instance of OBS. Software itself is fairly intuitive. It's easy to use, easy to set up. My only issue with it is it is missing some key features. For example, on the Stream Deck software, or the Elgato software, it has multi-action buttons that allow you to do multiple operations inside of there. For example, you press the button once, it allows you to move it a certain way. And if you press the button again, it does a separate action. This can be set up inside of the D6 software. However, you don't have an option for one and then multi-action at the same time. So if you notice it across the top right here, I have two buttons that are turned red right now because I was using them, or I had downloaded some additional software from the FIFINE D6 store. If you notice across the top here on the left-hand side, we have several buttons. That will open the store. That will open the forum. We have tutorials. And then we have a box right here to allow us to adjust the settings for our D6. So let's go ahead and click this button right here, and it will open up the store. It looks relatively similar to what the Stream Deck software used to look like. But if you notice, we have Discover. It allows you to go through a list of different options as well. But the main thing we're going to look at is plugins right here. There is a whole host of plugins that you can use for your D6 right here. If you notice, we've got a bunch of different ones. Right now, the software is a little bit limited, but there are some really popular ones like OBS, Twitch. We've got Autodesk, we got Photoshop that will allow you to set up, different buttons and shortcuts for Adobe and Excel. A bunch of different ones, Illustrator, Cinema 4D, a bunch of different plugins that are available for it. If you scroll down the list right here, you can see there's one for Twitch right there. Will allow you Twitch tools. They integrated with your stream. We got Super Macro. I have several of these installed just to try to make it more to what I would have it to be. I use the ones from Bar Raider. They are quite useful. And I try to set them up for some of the things that is not natively to the D6 software. I'm sure as the software is updated, it will include more. For example, there are no lighting plugins. These are all the ones you have available currently at the moment. One thing I do miss is the ability to control my lighting that I'm able to do from my Elgato Stream Deck, but these are all the utilities and all the plugins are available to you. I went through and downloaded several plugins from the D6 store in hopes that I can make it more customizable for things that I like. So let's talk up here. Let's talk about the Stream Deck real quick. So if you notice, I've got RGB control. My idea was doing this to be able to control the lighting for the D6. However, let me pop up to the next screen real quick, next page. So you've got all these options right here. We got on, off, brightness, rainbow. I have found that these do absolutely nothing. If you click on them, it gives you some options to change colors, but it did not do anything at all. This one here will not let you do anything at all as well. And by pressing those buttons, it didn't change anything on the D6. So this plugin right here is pretty much useless, I guess. There is an off button, and we can see if it turns the lighting off. It did absolutely nothing whenever you press these buttons. So I'll be honest with you, unless this plugin is updated to be able to do it, I don't see any option or any reason to use this plugin at all. RGB control. There's a button located directly on the back of the D6 where you plug the USB Type-C connection in. There's a small button that will allow you to cycle through the different color options that are available for the D6. And not only that, if you don't want the RGB on, you can actually turn it off completely. That way it's not lit up at all. I did download some additional tools, trying to make it a little bit more familiar. As I said, I think once the software is updated on a more regular basis, I think a lot of these things that I don't like about the software right now will become much easier to use. We got tools to allow you to, see drop frames, all the information available inside of OBS tools. But we got toggle filters, we've got drop frames, we've got, hotkey triggers, all sorts of different things that we can press, and set up for our Stream Deck or for the D6. It's right here. I've got an option for Bar Raider. I tried using this cause on my Stream Deck, I can press with the multi-action button. Press the button once, it will move my camera to the top of the screen. Press it again, and it lowers my camera to the bottom of the screen. I had to set up two functions for this. One to move it up, one to move it down. That way we could toggle the filters for my camera. So again, as I said, once they start incorporating more options into the D6 software, I think it will make it much better. But for the time being, I'm not a fan of some of the options that are lacking from the D6. I will be using this for a stream controller, probably for a macro pad is what my intention is going to be, because I do like the way it lays down flat versus a standard Stream Deck when it comes on the stand. You can take a standard Stream Deck off of the stand and lay it flat, but I like the fact that it lays flat directly on your desk. whenever you're using it. So as you can see, we're back over here on this scene, and this is what it looks like. You know, it's relatively flush to the desk. It's lightweight, but it doesn't slide all over the desk like, for example, my Stream Deck does. I can actually press it. It does move relatively easy, but it has stand on the bottom that kind of holds it down just a little bit whenever you're using it. You're not going to be moving around a lot anyway. Even if, like, for me, for example, when I press the buttons, it doesn't move at all because, you know, it does have that little bit of friction located directly on the bottom of the D6. Some other things I wish it did as well is when you press the button when you're on an active scene. For example, when I go to my main game, it should be lit up, and then when I switch, I wish it would, you know, dim it out or at least be able to change the icon. You can't do that inside of this software. So hopefully with some updates, it would allow you, to dim, whatever page. For example, when I'm on my Stream Deck and I press a different scene, the scene that I left will go dim. So now that we swap back, I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about with the Stream Deck. So let's move the Amplagame D6 out of the way, and we'll talk about what the Stream Deck does and some of the features I wish the D6 would add to it. I don't know exactly how well you can see my Stream Deck, but if I press a button, it switches over, and then if I go back, that button is kind of dimmed out. And if you notice, swapping it again, all the buttons that aren't active are kind of dim. So the only ones that are lit up, if you see right across, is a YouTube button and a few of the other ones. Like I have one that was spam, my emotes for my Twitch channel, but all the rest are dim except for the microphone. So whenever I press the microphone button, it actually shows that the microphone is muted because it shows a different icon. On my D6, that option does work, but for some of the other ones, like I said, I wish it would dim those out to let me know that those scenes are active. I mean, common sense is, I know they're not active, but at least with them dimmed out, I know I'm not accidentally going to press one of the buttons by accident. So let's take a few moments to discuss the D6, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and some things that I wish they would add for future updates that we may not have covered during this video. Out of the box, it's really nice. It's plastic, it's lightweight, it's not cheap feeling. Difference between it and a Elgato Stream Deck is negligible as far as the actual feel and build quality of it. Both are built really nice. The one thing I will say about this one, I do like the fact that the cord is detachable. On the MK2 or the Mark II version of the Stream Deck, it is detachable. Also, I actually own the original Stream Deck, and that cable is not detachable. So the fact that Amplagame took into consideration on their first iteration of the control of their Stream Deck that the cable can be removed is a really nice feature. I also like the fact that the buttons are a little bit bigger and that the D6 is a little bit larger than a standard Stream Deck. So for me personally, the fact that I can't use my fingers, that I don't accidentally press, multiple buttons at a time. Even though on my other Stream Deck, I use my pencil right here to be able to press, it makes it relatively easy to set up, easy to use. Some things that I do find lacking, as I said, is the D6 software. But again, once they start upgrading the software and adding additional features to it, I really believe the D6 is going to be a really good alternative to the Stream Deck. Not only that, it is about half the price of an Elgato Stream Deck. It does have lighting around the outside edge of it. You can see it on my camera. My apologies for the camera quality. I'm having to use my phone to be able to show you what it looked like. As far as the actual button pressing on the D6, I do find that the buttons are not quite as giving. Sometimes they kind of feel like they're sticking if you don't press directly in the center, and it'll make kind of like a clicking sound. So my final thoughts on the D6. $70, half the price almost of a traditional Stream Deck. Does pretty much the exact same functions if you're going to be using it for live streaming inside of OBS, which is what its intended purpose is. You can, however, set up as a macro pad. I might be doing that. That way I can use it for, some gaming and things of that nature. I do feel like that once the software is got a little bit more time invested in it, it will allow it to be added some additional features to the D6. I will say plugins are lacking, but it does offer the ones that I do need for streaming as well. But there are a few others I wish it would add. For example, the multi-action bar to be able to press the button once and perform a series of actions by pressing it multiple times. For example, and not having to have more than one button to be able to accomplish the same task like I can on a Elgato Stream Deck. Beyond that, I am pretty much satisfied with the D6. I don't have any real complaints. I mean, other than the issues with a little bit of stickiness with the buttons, the software that could, can be added with additional features for the price point, half the price of an Elgato Stream Deck. I mean, you can't beat that. The fact that it is a little bit bigger than a Stream Deck, and I also like the angle of the D6 as well, how it lays on my desk. That way it makes it a little bit easier for me to use personally for myself. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and we look forward to seeing y'all in the next one.